I love Disney. I love a good fairy godmother. Godmother sounded like something I would really like, and I'm really into kind of Christmas films just now and films with magic in them, so I was definitely in the right frame of mind for this. But did it deliver? Yes, actually, it did. And the best thing about this, while there are several great things, I love the narrative style, I love the performances, and I love the message that it gives. It's kind of taking a lot of the traditional elements that we love from the fairy godmother, but giving it a more meaningful and modern approach in more ways than one. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but maybe towards the end I will mention a few spoiler things, but I will give fair warning before we get there. So this was released this year in 2020, and it's directed by Sharon Maguire, with a screenplay by Kari Granlund, and Sharon Maguire, the director, just to give you an idea of what you might get, kind of the feel you might get, same director behind Bridget Jones's Diary. So straight away, you know that's going to be a good thing. The cast is incredible. Jillian Bell plays our fairy godmother in training, Eleanor, and I will say I'm not a big fan of the title Godmothered. I feel like something like Godmother in Training, or I don't know, Fairy Godmother in Training. I just feel like it would have been a bit more interesting. But if the title's the worst thing about this film, I think it's doing pretty well. The film's actually narrated by a character, a fairy godmother called Agnes. She's played by June Squibb, and I absolutely love her. I think she is brilliant. So the film starts out with all of these trainee fairy godmothers having a lesson, and they realise that actually, because nobody's believing in the magic of fairy godmothers anymore, they may have to shut the school down, and fairy godmothers as we know them may no longer be. However, Eleanor, one of the trainee godmothers, decides that this simply cannot happen. She goes to find somebody who still believes and tries to help them. Now, where this goes a little bit crazy is that the person she's trying to help is now a woman in her 40s who believed in the fairy godmother when she was a child. And this woman is played by Isla Fisher, who is brilliant. And I do have to say, because obviously Fisher and Jillian Bell spend a lot of time together on screen, it was obviously important that they worked very well, and I think they did absolutely fantastically. I honestly don't have any issues with this film at all, and in fact there are so many things that I really liked about it. So the fact that we have a prospective fairy godmother in training, first of all, means that she's going to get things wrong because she is a trainee. Her magic is sometimes going to go awry, sometimes quite problematically, but sometimes comically. And it is quite a funny film. I think Eleanor as a character is very entertaining. She is a bad singer. She's meant to be a bad singer, but she still sings. She's still got this really jolliness, this really happy jolliness about her as a character. She's full of love and life and just wants to make people happy and want to give people their happily ever after. And I love her as a character. I think she's really well developed. I think she goes on a lovely little journey. Obviously, her main role in this is to guide Mackenzie, played by Isla Fisher, through her own journey. But as she's doing that, Eleanor herself goes on her own journey, and she begins to realise what the fairy godmother should be doing in this day and age. And I'll maybe talk about that as a spoiler aspect towards the end. I think we have some great characters in this, a lot of different personalities. We don't see too much of Mackenzie's life, to be honest. We see her at work. We see a potential, it's a potential love interest, but also not. There's not really any romance in this, at least for the most part, and that's brilliant, and it works really well, despite the fact that it's trying to emulate a classic fairy godmother trying to find love. It's really, really effective the way the narrative unfolds. There's one song in this. I won't say what the song is, at least not yet. But that moment was absolutely incredible. So even if you just watch it for that rendition, it's so fun and it will make you feel so happy and jolly, and It's just great fun. It lasts about 3 minutes, and it's 3 of the best minutes ever. I also have to say the costumes. Eleanor's costume is beautiful. We get to see quite a lot of that blush pink dress, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm just very quickly on IMDb going to see if I can find out who the costume designer is. Costume designed by Renee Ehrlich Kalfus. That's German, so I apologize if I got any of that wrong. I almost definitely did. Same costumier behind A Simple Favor, Last Christmas, the Annie remake, quite a lot of Baby Mama, quite a lot of really great films. Absolutely beautiful costume design. Does it feel like a Disney film? It definitely does. Yeah, I definitely feel like it captures Disney magic. It's got a modern twist in a lot of ways, but it does, as I said, retain a lot of the magical elements of the fairy godmother that we see, let's face it, from Cinderella. But this is not just a modern take on Cinderella. It's nothing like that. It's completely different, and I thoroughly recommend it. So, spoilers from now, just a few small spoilers. So, the song. And honestly, it's if you'd said this song is in this, I don't know why I'm trying to withhold the name. I've said spoilers. It's my favorite things from Sound of Music, and I love it. And I love how it's slightly aggressively sung at one point, trying to channel those positive vibes. It brought me a lot of merriment, and I really loved that. The fact that this entire film is basically about finding your true love, and that true love does not have to be, first of all, a prince, second of all, a man, third of all, a romantic true love. We have families, parents for their children, relatives. I think that's beautiful, and I think it's really timely. And it manages to do this and give this modern take without losing any of the magic of the fairy godmother or of the fairy tale. I have to say, the fairy tale elements in this are beautiful. When we are at the training school, when we see the other godmothers, they look amazing. The magic is incredible. The special effects, I probably should have talked about before I got into the spoilers, but the special effects I thought were absolutely stunning. And at the end, I can say this since it's spoilers, we have that, that animated bit where it's like the animation and it's like a book. Reminds me a bit of the way they did the intro to Shrek. Obviously not a Disney film. I loved that. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I thought it was a lovely touch when they turned the watermelon into the carriage. Loved it. And when Eleanor turned the cat into the horse, and she told the cat, please don't blow up. Honestly, I lost it a little bit. I thought that was just hilarious. Eleanor is such an infectious character. She's wonderful. Godmothered is brilliant. I absolutely love it. I would love to know what you think of it, but if you haven't seen it, even though I may have just spoiled a few of the good moments, please watch it. It's pure Disney magic and one of the greatest things to ever go on to Disney Plus.